We're good. YouTube, Facebook. How are you doing, YouTube? We have something special for you. Ladies and gentlemen, the first real sign that the US China trade war is finally coming to a conclusion. What you need to know about it and what you could do to prepare and what you could do to take advantage of this opportunity. I am Mark Melnick. This is the Newsbeat Show. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Newsbeat Show. I have so many great things to talk to you about today. Is the US China trade war finally coming to an end? We have so many great things to discuss about that. By watching this show, you're agreeing told me, Mark Melnick, NT3 Live, harmless and not responsible for anything. Let's get right to it. So, it's kind of funny when this whole US China trade war first started. It's one of the headlines, one of the geopolitical headlines that have been dominating our markets. And whether or not you are sick and tired of hearing it at this point, it still affects the market today. Even just the hint, the thought of a resolution happening could spike the market, and anything contrary to such could plummet the market. And that was very obvious today here. If you're watching the Qs or spiders, it doesn't really matter. You saw the spiders on a 5-minute bar pop up almost $1.60 right over here today on this 5-minute chart, and then only to plummet down as the US said they would be considering an interim deal with China, tried to make a small deal now for a potential larger one later, only to have the White House come out, at least the White House advisors, always anonymous, to come out and deny it. And you might say, well, what does that have to do with anything? It's moving the market. So when this US China trade war first started, many months ago, I was telling everybody that we would have a resolution before the end of this year. So far, that prediction has a looming question mark over it, as it just simply never happened. I said it would come to a conclusion because, simply put, what I have learned over, one of the things I've learned over my 20-year intraday career as a trader, I have learned that if you just see what makes most financial sense for any side of the table, whether it's potential nuclear disarmament, whether it's a war, be it physical or trade war, whether it's any sort of deal that happens, any sort of negotiation, even in certain parts of the world, a marriage, arranged weddings are completely based on, financial means. That's what makes a good match. And if you think of it like that, it sort of depletes all of the emotions away from something and allows you to actually come to a logical conclusion and a realization of what is most likely to happen. So when it comes to the US-China trade war, while everyone was predicting gloom and doom, I was the person calling for a resolution. And as time goes on, depending on which day you're reading a headline, we were closer to resolving it and further away and closer and further away. Then more tariffs were added, and then more talks were happening, and then more tariffs were added on one side, and then more tariffs were added on another side, then more tariffs. And it just seems like this bickering was just going to go into a, a black hole, then just voids and just sucks out all the hopes and all the plans for a potential resolution. But there is something that came out today, an article that not many people are paying attention to. Shockingly, I am absolutely shocked. And you probably, unless you were in the Newsbeat room, you most likely did not see this article today, but it's the most important article that has ever come out. And I am telling you now, when you do see this resolution to the US China trade war, I am going to show you what it's going to not only look like, but what is going to be the actual middle ground, which the US and China will meet halfway to come to this arrangement. Now, To put things in perspective, I will tell you how to play this. It's going to all come down to 5G. 5G, if you haven't been following the 5G news flow, it's a very controversial thing. People are signing petitions. They don't want 5G towers in their neighborhoods. They're afraid of the electromagnetic frequency, the radiation, and the potential health detriments in which humans don't have enough empirical evidence or knowledge of based on it being a new technology to what kind of harmful effects it can have for your body. We all know that cell phones are harmful for your body. That doesn't mean people are getting rid of their cell phones. You've seen the picture where people who have the cell phone on their head all day and they, God forbid, get a tumor right there on their brain. It's already proven that cell phone usage is actually phenomenally unhealthy, causes radiation. There's scientific studies by Ivy League colleges showing that there's sperm count reduction if men leave it within their pockets, their cell phone. And there's so many ways to combat that and whatnot. And that's, with 4G and what you're used to now, when all this scientific research came out. 5G is coming out now, which is a much shorter but more powerful wave, and people are nonetheless afraid. This isn't going to be a health discussion on the health benefits or effects of 5G. What I am telling you is too bad. You are going to be, if you live in the United States of America, and unless you're in some very low population area up in the mountains somewhere, you will most likely be absorbing 5G tower radiation wherever you go. And this is important because this is going to be the resolution of the US China trade war. I'm going to explain to you how in a moment. But even looking at companies like AMT, American Tower, I'll even show you a weekly. Companies like this are responsible for putting in 5G towers. And you can see even just from the beginning of the year, this stock went from $150 to $242. So yeah, these companies are already prepping. And yeah, we called the bottom of it recently too. These companies are already prepping for the future of 5G. Now, the biggest thing for China to remain technologically relevant in the world is 5G. Whoever has the fastest internet wins. This 5G, ladies and gentlemen, is not about having you download the entire library of Netflix in under 30 seconds. This is not about touching something and being up to, which it's not going to be immediately, but up to 100 times faster than 4G. This is not about your convenience of downloading internet. This is about the future. Whoever is faster wins, whether it's internet, whether it's a missile. Think about the hypersonic missile race between the US and China, where China was designing missiles that can be fired faster than the speed of sound. Speed is critical to power. Speed does insinuate power. So there's a company which you obviously heard of if you're following 5G called Huawei. And depending on who you ask, from some of my Chinese friends will tell me that it actually stands Huawei is for China or for the good of China. It's actually a public company in which the Chinese government has, according to some sources and most sources, complete and total control over. And these Huawei devices, what they were doing was they were siphoning off all the information on these 5G towers and sending them to servers in China, creating a security risk for espionage. Now, when the trade war continued to keep dividing, when we couldn't come with a deal, one day our president started talking about 5G and how he even mentioned 6G and how the internet's just going to even get faster than what we're looking forward to. And what this did was the president started making countries like Poland, for example, where Vice President Pence was recently, signed a deal to not use Huawei, in English, to not use Chinese 5G technology. They were going to use US 5G technology. Now, the problem is with Huawei is that all of their software, all of their networking equipment has the ability to siphon off this information. So instead, a website called Gizmodo, it's people, millions of people go to this website if you never heard of it. It's Gizmodo. Came out with an article today at 12 o'clock p.m. saying that Huawei is considering licensing all of its 5G patents in effort to avoid a ban in the West. Now, if you don't think that China isn't fighting and suffering from this, if you don't think that, I will show you something that's going to lay those facts to rest. In fact, Huawei started a complete marketing campaign called Facts. This website is actually facts.huawei.com. If you go to facts.huawei.com, I kid you not, like you literally type in like facts.huawei.com, and it takes you to this website in which I'm showing you right here. And they talk about opinion, Huawei dropping lawsuits against the government, how they're just the good guys because this is such 100% owned by employees, even though the Chinese government makes every decision for them. 30-year track record of safety and security, despite that they're siphoning off everyone's information. Now, I'm not here pointing a finger at Huawei. Espionage happens in every single first world country on the planet. I'm not delusional. I am just pointing out the hilarity of the facts in this one instance, okay? Connected with over 3 billion people and over 170 companies. And of course, what they show who we are, their innovation, and right over to cybersecurity and their contribution to the world. These are the 4 topics when you go to Huawei Facts. This is a brand new website that started. Don't believe everything you hear. Come and see us. An open letter to the U.S. media. This is on the front page. I didn't click anything. Interview with Sky News in the UK. I don't have to talk about the visual dynamics of somebody obviously Chinese talking to somebody obviously not Chinese. This is get to know Huawei US, a picture of the Statue of Liberty with the word Huawei right next to it. I've never even been to, I'm just showing you. See a different side. The economic impact of blocking Huawei in the US, how it could hurt you as a US individual. They are going tooth and nail to stop this. So this came out today, and basically it's going to allow Huawei, they obviously, as they say here clearly, has a vested interest in maintaining its ability to sell 5G outside of China. Now, the biggest part of the US-China trade war, where we sort of won the battle or got the edge here, was trying to force other countries or make agreements with other countries or signing deals with other countries, however you want to word it, to not use Huawei. So the U.S. attempted to use its waning influence over allies to convince other countries to also ban Huawei from installing networks within their borders. So what they want to do here, and they even have quotes from people inside Huawei. They even have Huawei CEO Ren Zhengfei saying that the deal would allow whoever licenses its patents to examine and modify Huawei source code so they can't do espionage, so they could still make money, so China could still be relevant in the 5G market. This is all about 5G. And this is what's going to bring the US to the table in the middle. This is what's going to bring China in the table in the middle because China at this point is going to tap out. You ever watch UFC? You ever see them grappling? And then punch, punch, punch. And they can't, yeah, I could still go. Punch, 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 punch. And then all of a sudden they get rear naked choked or armbar or a key lock or a triangle choke or knock the front door out. And all of a sudden, one side is over and the other side wins. This is at the point, if you want a comparison of this, the US is like on the back of China trying to execute a rear naked choke. And China is like this, trying to prevent their carotid arteries from being blocked so they could get oxygen to their brain, praying that the bell rings and the ref breaks them apart for the next round. The only difference is there is no ref. And there is no next round. And they are slowly losing oxygen, quickly losing money, and they will meet in the middle. Because if they are allowing this, and this is right from the CEO, this is not he said, she said. This is Right from The Economist, the interview that I just showed you with the CEO Ren Shengfei. Ren Shengfei, I think I pronounced Zhengfei or Shengfei, however you pronounce his name, said the deal would allow whoever licenses its patents to examine and modify Huawei source code. This is going to prevent Huawei from spying. This is going to actually allow whichever country wants to use Huawei's technology to put in whatever source code that they want. And this is going to allow Huawei to sell their products outside of China, which is critical for Chinese influence in the world. And this trade war will be coming to an end soon. And while all the media is so doubtful in telling you this, I do want to remind you this is the same media who is talking nonstop about the inverted yield curve. And then I did a Newsbeat show recently where I literally said the inverted yield curve equals bullish when the whole market was collapsing. And while other talking heads, gurus, analysts on TV were all telling you that, yeah, a recession is going to come and a recession is near, I calmly told you that it was a buying opportunity. And when 9/11 was coming and everything was looking bad with China on 9/11, I did my last video on for September 11th that I did on September 10th was buy immediately at the open. And we shot up and we had one of our best days this year. And then I told you the up move was going to even continue into today, and it happened. And I will be the first person to ask you this. The Newsbeat live room is a room that is taken very seriously. In fact, one of the pioneers of 5G, if not one of the biggest pioneers on the planet of 5G, my favorite 5G company in the world, Inseego. We did an interview with the CFO. Watch Newsbeat show number 400. And if you actually realize the day we interviewed the CFO, the stock closed at $4.05 right over here on August 21st. $4.05. Since then, the stock has went as high as $5.02. Inseego rallied 25, my number one 5G play of 2019, my number one stock of the year of 2019, went up 25% since we have interviewed the CFO. And if you wanted to see it, it was right over here. Just watch Newsbeat Show 400. We have Steve Smith, CFO and an executive vice president of Inseego. That stock has been up 25%. And you know who's going to benefit from all this licensing and patenting and whatnot? You want to know a pure 5G play that's going to come out and, in this trader's humble opinion, have a lot to benefit if Huawei allows countries to change their source code? Inseego. This is the company that's going to benefit. And it's funny with all this news coming out that Inseego is just magically rallying. The stock is up, again, 25% since we interviewed the CFO on August 21st. What is that? 2.5 weeks ago? 3 weeks? Whatever it is. 25% return on your money if you bought it that day at the closing price. So the US China trade war is not going to continue. In fact, if you look on CNBC and you do the exact opposite of what they say, of what they tell you to do, you will be right more often than wrong. I know this because I had CNBC on for 2 decades in front of my face to understand that they do not, as a whole, I mean, there are exceptions to every rule. Scott Redler being, should be GQ's one of sexiest men alive, but he's too busy to do interviews with GQ. Other than that, the people on CNBC, the people on other media stations are there to waste your time. And anytime they talk about inverted yield curve being bearish, and anytime they talk about recession, I do want to remind you, besides for the fact that we're telling you that it wasn't going to happen, I just want to remind all those talking heads who are now bullish in the market with the Qs hitting 194.71 today, or the spiders hitting 302.46 at the all-time highs on the spiders. Nobody is talking about this. Nobody is talking about this. How many people here knew? How many of you guys knew? I'll prove you wrong. Prove me wrong. How many of you guys knew that the spiders hit an all-time high today? How many of you guys were aware of that? How many of you guys, and we're talking inverted yield curve, you were aware of it, Kevin? Good. I wasn't. I wasn't aware of it. I'll admit it. You did, AJ. You did, Richard. Good. Maybe you did too. I didn't. That's a dose of honesty for you. You're aware? Well played. Not you, Lex. Yep. You, Camille. Yep. You. That's great. That's great. A lot of the Newsbeat members did. I didn't right away. I mean, I notice it now. I'm talking about it, but not earlier today. So we hit 302.46. And again, people are asking me, Mark, how did you know the inverted yield curve was bullish? How did you know this was going to happen? How did you know? And you want to know my answer was? Because everyone was bearish. Everything on the media was that we were going to plummet. Everything the media is telling you about this inverted yield curve leading to recession, and every single bear that they can muster comes on TV and gives their 2 cents. Now, what if you wanted to make trading simple? All right, Mark, this is great. You're telling me the US-China trade war is coming to an end. What would have been a typical Newsbeat day for me if I was in your room? Well, I think trading should be simple. That is how you reach consistency. Trading should be simple methods in which the majority of people can use. As soon as you have people starting to tell you to give rating systems and adding points and subtracting, stars and looking at all these different candlestick setups, and this is a 3-2-1 and a 1-2 and a 2-1 and a 1-2-3-4-5 and an ABC and a CBA and I wish I could play in the NBA and all these different things, you are going to destroy the people around you. 98, 99% of them. You will have those few. Have you ever been in part of a community where the vast majority of its members are consistent? I don't think it's ever existed before up until recently in the Newsbeat live room. I mean, sure, maybe 2-3 years ago, maybe 20, 30% are consistently profitable, and that's way above the industry average. But for the first time, last month, I have realized that the majority of our members are consistently profitable, turning the corner. And you want to know why that is? You want to know why? I'm going to show you the trades right now. It's not because there's any magic formula. It's not because it's a magic strategy. It's not because I'm showing you nonsense. It's not because I'm talking about names in which, just blabbing out to you. It's not because I'm trying to pitch you or sell you something. But I want to show you something here. This is what our game plan looked like this morning. This is what our game plan looked like this morning. I'll show you. And I was telling, ladies and gentlemen, this is what it looked like today. How many of you guys overtraded today? How many of you guys were watching all day and it feels like your head is spinning because you're watching this grindy market, which went sideways for hours? That's not an opinion. Look, you're watching Q, spiders, IWM, doesn't matter what you're watching. Here's an hourly of the Qs, for example. I like the Qs. Oh, compare that to yesterday when we're hitting home runs. Compare that to yesterday when we were exuberant. Today we weren't so exuberant. Why? You're just talking in hindsight, Mark. You didn't know in the morning it wouldn't be like this. 9 o'clock a.m., September 12th, 2019. That's Eastern Standard Time. I'm in the state of New Jersey. Good morning, Bandits. Take it easy today. Not a lot of good analyst pre-market notes. Maybe a quick one and done or high five on a good setup, question mark. Watching earnings names. 1 out of 10 conviction. That's what 1 out of 10 means. You thought I was rating my face on a 1 to 10 scale. That could be a 1 out of 10 too. But no, I was rating the place. Oracle short, ACB short, Kroger, either way, also watching Apple. Intraday news flow is king today. So what was it like with that information? Well, first of all, I need you to understand one thing. This took me 3 hours. Since 6 o'clock a.m., it took me 3 hours to write this. Not 3 hours because I have 10 thumbs and I move at the pace of a sloth trying to press the keyboard. But my entire culmination to know the market was going to be grindy, to know the market was not going to be good today, that took me 15 years of trading to discover how I could accurately predict how days would be good and other days would not be so good for intraday trading. I have a unique method, a science that is accurate to the point where it's indisputable. So I want to show you what it was like to be a Newsbeat Bandit today. Now, if you were a Newsbeat Bandit today, maybe you wouldn't make money on this trade. Maybe you would. You tell me. Maybe it's not for you, but you know what? That's honest. At least you're looking at it. I'm going to show it to you right now. But look at it and tell me if it's not for you. If it's not for you, it's not for you. This is a 1 minute chart. Apple one and done. You're above the VWAP. You're above the exponential 8. Traders who are watching it bought Apple through 224.98 and went up 77 cents within less than 60 seconds. This is a 1 minute chart. It says 1 minute here. See? 1 minute. Click. 1 minute chart of Apple breaks. With that 77-cent move, members of my room started peeling off. They started disappearing. Bye, Mark. Have a good day. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. See ya. Thank you. Thank you. My phone catches fire. Ding, 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 ding. During lunchtime. Please stop texting me during that time. Please stop texting. I love you. Congratulations. Please stop texting me during that time. Right over here, 224.98. Done. This could be your whole day. Right before 9:33 a.m. No buy here, stop here. No, this is a 1, 2, 3 pattern. None of this complexity. None of this stare at your screen and be a slave to the market. Become a slave to the market. Sit here and slave at your desk, not harder than a 9 to 5. Harder than any 9 to 5. Is a 9:30 to 4 in the market is harder than any 9 to 5, trust me. And then after that was done, the next one we called was Oracle, followed by Kroger for our Mark 5. This was our next call. Short Oracle through 53.71, right over here. This is the call we're making. Please keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, we're not making a lot of calls. I think making money should be boring. Sometimes it's exciting. I admit. But trading is not supposed to be a thrill-seeking job. This is not a casino. This is not you spinning a slot machine and seeing 3 sevens show up on in front of your face, whatever, electronic slots or whatever you're doing. This is not scratching off a scratchy ticket and winning $1,000. This is buying Oracle puts or shorting Oracle shares right through 53.71, right before it plummeted 81 cents. Is that a good trade for you off a Mark 5? Do you think I'm cherry picking these ideas for you? No, these are ideas that we call. These are ideas that we're calling as valid trades in the room. The next one was Kroger. Kroger. We called long right here through 26.45. I didn't make on this trade. You think I'm crushing all these ideas? You think I make thousands of dollars on this? Buy here through 26.45. Target 26.70. Modest 1% move. Boom, hits 26.77. Trade is over. Then, of course, the conference call came out and the stock plummeted, but the trade's over. Oracle, short here through 53.71. Look for a flush through 53.60. Happens right here to 52.90. Trade's over. What if that was your day? What if making an extra $1, 2, 3, 4, $500,000, $2,000 every day was that easy? What if you were able to do that easily over 70% of the time, most likely 80, 85 once you really get the hang of it? I find it funny when traders on Wall Street talk about consistency, yet the majority of their members are dwindling. Why is that? Why is that? Why is that the majority of these chat rooms, these trading rooms all over Wall Street, why is it that 95, 96, 97% of the members after a year leave? Because they're not making money. Why is our retention rate so high? Why is the Newsbeat live room the largest? Why is it T3 Live's largest and fastest growing trading room? Do you think I have a different marketing plan? Do you think that people like my face? Believe me, it's a lot to take in. You think it's the soothed sexiness of my voice? No, it's because we have a high retention rate. That if you become a Newsbeat Live member, most likely you are either consistently profitable or you see something that is changing your life in which you know you're going to become consistently profitable. And you see somebody like me with you every day, fighting for you, fighting to take you to that next level. And that is why you believe in what we do. That is why, because our retention rate is higher. Because once you sign up, most likely, you are staying for the rest of your life or as long as you wish to be a trader. I mean, we've had people with horrible tragedies, people diagnosed with illnesses and they were going to be hospitalized and they couldn't be in the room anymore. Like I've seen situations like that. People leave for a myriad of reasons. Most people will leave other rooms out there because they're losing money. So what do I do after this show ends? I show you some weird algo levels. Mark with his trend lines calling the top and bottom of all these names on any given day. Oh, he's not always right though. Of course not. But you know what? Wall Street, when you're sharing strategies with somebody, it should be able to be explained to a 10-year-old. You know what I wouldn't do to a 10-year-old, even though I don't have one yet? I will eventually have a 10-year-old. But you know what I don't do to a 10-year-old? I don't swamp them with a bunch of information. I don't sit there asking him to, collect, Super Mario Brother coins on certain plays and 1, 2, 3 setups and, pump here and dump here. And I don't do nonsense with him. I make things very simplistic. He's 4 years old. But when he's 10, if he wants to learn how to trade, I would open up an account for him. I would let him trade. And I guarantee you, I would be teaching him the same exact things that I teach you and I teach the Newsbeat live room. Because trading is only as difficult as you wish to make it. Some people think that you have to learn all these things to trade, when in truth is, the majority of gurus out there who make money cannot help more than 1-2% of the people around them. Most of them fail. A new marketing push comes in, and it's just like the never ending revolving door. A huge line of marketing push members in, and the members who got sucked in that first time all leaving out. And the door keeps spinning, and there's one line coming in and another line going out. That's why all these trading rooms around Wall Street, that's why they all really don't increase in size. They don't increase in size. They remain stagnant at a tight range over years, and you have to say like, what's going on? They're spending so much money on marketing. You're probably getting so many emails from them right now as we speak. What's happening to them? Why can't they grow? Because they can't retain their members. Because their members don't make money. Because they don't go the extra mile for the members who don't make money. They don't go the extra mile for them. I go the extra mile for you. I'll prove it through more than words. I'll prove it through actions. We have a free open house next week. Take advantage of it. The money's going to 9/11 first responders who are in miserable, terrible conditions. The people who are suffering the most right now, I know how this sounds, believe me. The people who are suffering the most from the 9/11 incidents are the people who lived. I know how that sounds. Financially, maybe emotionally different. Financially, the people who lived are suffering the most because, God forbid, they're all getting ridiculous lung diseases and whatever, and they're medical bills are, and it's just not covered fully. Even the people with the best insurance are losing, they're going bankrupt, they can't afford things. Even when your medical bills are paid, you still can't afford to pay your rent. It's not like you swipe your medical insurance card to your landlord. Some of these people cannot make ends meet, so we'll be helping them as well. I was originally going to look after the people in the Bahamas. I actually got a really good charity where I know where all the money goes, and I know the guy personally, and they're running one of the biggest Bahama charities there. They're building houses for people with the hurricanes. I spoke to him. I told him I was doing the 9/11 thing, and he really, he's a friend. I consider him a friend, so I don't want to use the word begged, but he was basically telling me, he's like, Mark, these people are just, their lives were completely ruined by this hurricane and whatnot. So I might mention them as well. I might throw something that way as well. But it is going to go. It is going to go towards 9/11 families of 9/11 victims, living victims, the ones who died, God forbid. Those are the people who got the largest settlements, and even though they are emotionally will never be repaired, they're financially to the point where they don't have to worry about paying their bills. The people who lived through 9/11 are the ones who are suffering the most right now, and I need to highlight that. So proceeds will be going towards that. We do have an open house next week. Come find out why. The Newsbeat live room is T3 Live's number one largest, fastest growing trading room. How about I give you the levels before I go? That would be nice of me. It always touches an interesting spot. I always get weird during this 9/11 time. We always get a little, you know, I don't know. Call it whatever you want. Here are tomorrow's levels today. They don't always hit, but when they do, me and Newsbeat Live Room members tend to have an easy time making money by buying through support and shorting through resistance. Trade war is coming to an end. 5G is the wave of the future. And Seago is my favorite 5G play. It was the 2019 Newsbeat Live Room Stock of the Year. The stock is up 25% since we've spoken to the CFO, Steve Smith. He's the Executive Vice President and CFO of Inseego. We gave him a unique interview. We asked him questions which no one has ever asked the company before. We got answers for just about all of them. It was one of the most in-depth interviews I would say that T3 and definitely myself has ever done, and it's amazing to see the results of that. U.S. trade war, ladies and gentlemen, it's probably going to be resolved before Christmas. I hope you guys enjoyed the Newsbeat show. Happy trading, make money. I will see you guys tomorrow on the Newsbeat live trading broadcast. Have a wonderful evening.